Today we're going to be talking about moving to Florida and how far your money will really go in 2021. I'll also be doing a small market update, and we'll be getting after that next. Hey everybody, my name's Cunha. I'm a real estate agent here in Southwest Florida, and if you're looking for a channel that'll tell you more about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate on the Gulf Coast, then this is the channel for you. So go ahead and subscribe. Hit the little bell to make sure you're notified every time a new video comes out, and even leave a comment down below of something I might have missed or that you want to know more about. I'm getting calls and texts and emails from people every day, and I love it. If you've got a question you need an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast. All right, so when we're talking about moving to Florida and how far will your money go, we're going to talk about cost of living. But I spent a lot of time looking for information about this and really thinking about what that truly means. Everybody's got different likes, dislikes, different situations. Your credit is different than your neighbor's credit. Your job and your income is different. Your spending habits are different. There's just so many differences. For us to blanket cover cost of living, that's really difficult to do. So we're going to try to look at different parts of what that looks like, how you can modify it, and how it may or may not be different here in Florida to where you're from. Now again, there's many variables when it comes to cost of living, but we know one thing for sure. You've got to take care of certain parts of your life financially if you're going to get ahead. Credit is so important these days because the amount of interest that you pay, I can tell you for a fact, when I was a kid or younger, I messed up my credit. So I paid a lot of interest over the years. Now, thank God, it's been a blessing. I've got great credit, pay very little interest on most things. That has saved me tens of thousands of dollars just on that alone. So we're talking about cost of living. You've got to be financially responsible for things like your credit, saving money, paying off high interest debt. All those things are going to play a part in this scenario. I can talk to you all day long about what things cost in an area, but there's a large part of this that's going to depend on your habits, your lifestyle, your likes, your dislikes. Do you like to go out to eat a lot? Do you buy Starbucks coffee every morning? Do you buy lunch every afternoon? Those are all things that play against your ability to live in a different area if you're taking a smaller income or your expenses rise. So put all those things into consideration when you're going through these details. What I found is that Florida is number 24 out of the 50 states on GoBankingRates.com, and they broke it down into some different categories as to how they're going to evaluate living in certain areas. And while this information looks maybe a little skewed, like the housing amounts don't really look all that accurate, given we've had a lot of change in values. But if we are saying that they're all going to be slightly off, then that they're working on the same playing field. So let's just go with that for now. Anyway, when you look at these different categories, every single category is within a reasonable amount of money away from another city, or another state, I should say. The one thing that keeps being a variable that's missing or changed dramatically in some cases is housing. So we know that you need a place to live. So it's a very important place to start. But if all other things remain relatively equal, then it shouldn't be that difficult, should it? Now, on the 2020 and 2021 census, there was some statistics taken for the median incomes for different situations. And this is taking one earner into consideration in these scenarios. So with one earner, the amount of money, the median amount was $52,534. And as the family size got bigger, so did that income. With two people, it goes up just over $65,000. Three people goes just up over $70,000. And with four or more, now you're up to almost $85,000. Now these again are median incomes. This is not taking into consideration different fields that you may be working in, because as you may have already known, this area of Florida and most of Florida is service-related jobs and service-related industries. So it's not going to have a lot of manufacturing. There are some small pockets of it, but for the most part, these incomes will be different than where you're from. But when we put that into consideration with the expenses that we're going to talk about next, you'll see how they all kind of work similarly together, and that you're not going to be that far off. Now, that biggest consideration we talked about the median home prices. Yes, the median home prices here, just for Cape Coral and Fort Myers. I pulled these individually for a single family home, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage. So nothing extravagant, just an average size home, and we have many that size here. In any case, the median price back in January of 2021 was $315,000. It has now increased to $360,000 here in June. So you can see we've had quite a bit of an increase already this year. Now, thank God that the rates are still down. They went down again today. They were just up over 3. Now they just dropped below 3 once again. So if you're still considering purchasing a home, this may be one of your best opportunities, because with those rate changes and with those prices continue to climb, we don't know what that's going to look like towards the end of the year or even the beginning of next year. We know they've already talked about rate changes. A rate change could be minor or it could be a little more than that. I don't think it's going to jump that high that fast, because they do not want to disrupt the entire housing industry. But at this point, I can tell you the last I saw, there were 562,000 homes under construction somewhere in the United States. So it's still very active building new homes. There's still a huge shortage. We're always going to be looking for other opportunities to get more homes in front of people, because right now we just don't have enough. Now, what I will share with you about housing is lately there hasn't been such a terrible bidding war when it comes to homes. I had 2 clients just in the last week. One of them only had to go over the list price by $7,500 to win their bid. The other one came in at list price and got his. So there is no $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 over in these cases. So those horror stories you heard before about people paying $100,000 over, I know I told that story too, because I had that happen. That's not happening as much right now. And again, different type of property. The one that was $100,000 or more, that was a Gulf Access pool home, so a little bit different. However, I'm not seeing that same urgency and desire to overpay quite the same way. There are still some appraisal waivers, but the good news is the one client that won by $7,500 the other day, the bank actually waived his appraisal. So hey, sometimes they see the value in the property. They can check this stuff online before it even comes to a formal appraisal. And if they see the numbers match up and they don't need to order it and they can save you some money, that's what they're going to do. Now, another thing I found out when I'm looking all over the state of Florida, the cost of living index is very close from city to city. And you'll notice the major cities, the bigger players, the expensive places like Boca Raton, Miami, Tampa, these places all are at 110 or 111 on the index. Now, 100 is the marker that kind of is the middle ground. That's the one that compares it to the rest of the United States. So if it's higher than that, it's more expensive. If it's lower than that, it's more affordable. You'll see that many of our Florida cities are in the low to mid 90s on that index, and Cape Coral and Fort Myers is one of those. So we're not more expensive to live in than the rest of the country. It's just a little bit different in certain categories. So we're going to talk about more of those categories moving forward. I'm going to stick on housing for just another minute, because there's another place that a lot of people are trying to get into right now, and that's rentals. Yes, rentals have gotten just as difficult as the purchases. However, I had a client the other day call about a rental, and I was able to find a pretty substantial list for her to consider. I did find that the starting price for a rental right now, and again, we're going with 3 2s. I did all the same searches, same types of same home type when I was doing the search: 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage. Now, these ones that were on the low end of the scale price-wise, they had also small square footages. So for $1,100 and change on the square footage, you're still in the $1,200 a month price range for an annual rental. We're not even going to talk about seasonal rentals, because they can get out of whack. Then on the top end of the same scale, we ended up finding $3,200 a month for an annual basis. So when we're considering the rentals, we also have to consider the expense to get into it. Most places are still taking first, last, and security. Occasionally you'll get away without one of those, either last or security, but usually all 3. So that's going to be a pretty big chunk depending on which one of those rentals you're going for. There's also going to be pet deposits and occasionally cleaning departure fees. So we're seeing some really weird fees tacked on to some of these rentals, but just know what you're getting into ahead of time. Check with your real estate agent, make sure they're checking all the fees for you, see what kind of qualification, how long you're going to need to wait to go through the application process, what kind of application fees there are. It's usually about $100 or so. Those are all things to consider if you're going to walk down the rental path. Now, transportation in our area, it's kind of essential that you have a car or a motorcycle or a bicycle or something. You need wheels underneath you in most cases because the Cape Coral area doesn't have a whole lot of public transportation. Now, we do still have Uber, and I'll tell you for a fact, for a roughly 5 to 7 mile trip, depending on the time of day, you're going to be looking in that $25 to $35 range to take an Uber. So keep that in mind if you ever need to use that. Taxis aren't so common anymore because Uber tends to just take over wherever they are. If you're going to be in Fort Myers does have extra public transportation. There is a busing line that does run pretty well there. There's also a trolley that runs down to Fort Myers Beach. So you will have more access to public transportation in Fort Myers. But overall, if you're trying to get around Southwest Florida, you're probably going to want to have a car or something like that. Now with that, you're also going to be paying insurance in most cases, I would imagine. This is where, again, your credit is very important because you are rated on that, your driving history. There's a number of factors that go into that. So when people talk about the expense and how expensive auto insurance is in Florida, I don't know. I'm under $100 a month. I have a brand new Toyota Tundra that I drive. I don't know. It's just, I have to speak from my experience. So if you're paying a really high rate, you have to look at who's providing the insurance, maybe what kind of vehicle you're driving, and are you a responsible driver? Do you get tickets? Do you have violations? All those things count against you. But without all those things, full coverage can still be about $100 a month on your auto insurance. Now, in this cost of living and having this financial responsibility, one of the things that we all like to do and probably do too much is dining out. Food is a massive category when it comes to cost of living because everybody loves food. I mean, come on, it's just a reality. And going out to eat, it is a luxury to some people and other people do it quite often. So if you're trying to find ways to save money and make living in the area more affordable, try and look at what you're doing for your dining experiences. If you're doing it as a special occasion and you're keeping it reasonable and maybe you're not ordering a bunch of drinks with it and desserts and all those extras, that can keep your costs down. Because the average meal when you go out, if it's 2 people, you should only be looking at about $30 to $40 max. Add a tip on there, 20% plus. That's the way you generally are going to find it. Outside of that, you need to look at what store you're going to shop at because we have 3 different levels of grocery stores here. Aldi's is probably one of the lower priced ones in the area, but they don't carry a lot of name brands. They do have some name brand, but not a lot. Walmart's the next step. That's the one where you're going to find great values, but you may have trouble with things like produce. It may not be the freshest. You may not really care for that. It may die pretty quickly or get spoiled in your fridge, so you have to replace it more often. Publix, that's probably the top echelon. They do have the freshest produce. It seems like they always carry the best things when it comes to fresh. However, their box prices and their package prices of things is much more than you'd find at Walmart. So you can either do a delicate balance between the stores whenever you're stocking up on things, or just understand that your store choice could play a big part in your food bill. Now, utilities is another big expense that's going to go get into your cost of living, and there's many variables that go into this as well. Because when you look at your home, I had 2 different homes that were very different from one another. The one I'm in now and my prior home. Now, the prior home was a 2-story, 2,600 square foot, 4-bedroom and a den home that had a pool on it. So my electric bill was easily $250 to $300 every month, just because of the square footage and the pool. Those are extras. Let me back up. There was also single pane windows on that 2-story home because this home was built back in 2006. So again, the efficiencies were just not there the same way. My current home, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square foot home, no pool. My electric bill right now, it struggles to get to $100, even in the hottest month. And I looked up my records over the past 2 years as to what that track looked like and what my usage was. You can clearly see the colder months, $50 is not uncommon to run the house, but not even reaching $100 in most cases on even the hottest months. So efficiencies in the home you live in will play a big part in your utilities. Also usage. Are you somebody that likes an hour shower? Or are you one of those people that jumps in the shower 5 minutes later, you're jumping out and toweling off? That's going to play a part because your water bill could be, again, like mine, maybe about $75 a month. With the pool, expect for it to be more because you will be having to top it off, especially in some of the drier months where you're not getting the rainfall. But that usage is definitely going to play a part in your monthly bill. Same thing as cable and internet. All those little variables play together. Are you streaming devices? How many different services are you using? I mean, we know there's a ton of them out there right now, but how many are you paying for that you're actually using? That's something to consider if you're trying to cut your costs. Now, with these two different homes, there's different kinds of expenses you'll run into. You may want to do the lawn yourself, or you may want to pay somebody to do it. My lawn right now is almost a half an acre. They wanted to charge me $150, $175 a month to cut this, and I told them, no thank you, I'll do it myself. Bought a riding lawnmower, have an 11-year-old. The lawn gets mowed, and I'm saving money because that tractor's long been paid for, and it's still getting my son out there cutting my lawn. As far as pool care is going to run you about $80 to $100 a month, and could be slightly more depending on what kind of service you're getting. If there's a spa involved as well, it could be a little bit more. The two services are very competitive in this area, both the lawn care and the pool care, so you can talk to a number of different companies and just find the best value and the best fit for you. Because again, if the person's treating you well and doing the service the way you expect it, it might be worth a little bit extra to have that person. Now, insurances, we touched briefly on insurances when we talked about the vehicle. So we know what the vehicle insurance is like, depending on your situation. Homes are no different, really, because the age of the home, the style of the home, the code updates that have been done to the home, many of these things are going to play a part in how much you're going to pay for insurance. Location is definitely going to play a part as far as flood insurance. I don't need flood insurance where I live. I have it anyway, just in case. But this flood insurance is only $574 a year. Not expensive. Also, my homeowner's insurance. Again, 2-year-old home. I pay just over $1,000 for the year for my homeowner's insurance. So you can see insurances don't have to be expensive. It depends on the type of home and what you need to cover yourself. These are full coverage policies, not high deductibles either. So you can see it can be affordable to have insurance even on your home. The one thing I haven't still solved is healthcare, because there's healthcare expenses. Now, thankfully, I'm blessed. My son's blessed. We don't have any serious ailments, but the insurance costs tend to get a little extensive. I'm between $600 and $700 a month on that, but we have what I believe is good coverage, and hopefully we won't ever have to use it. That's another situational thing, obviously. If it's somebody that does have some kind of illness or ongoing problems, then healthcare could be a little bit more expensive here. We are rated a little bit higher than many of the other states. But again, the trade-off of your mental well-being in being in this kind of element, in this kind of weather down here, should be a pretty nice trade-off for most people. Another place that our cost of living can affect you is if you're carrying a lot of debt payments, if you're concentrating on putting a lot of money into savings, stuff like that, that all goes against your cost of living. So if you could, again, pay down those high interest loans, get all those things taken care of as fast as you can, because that'll give you more of the disposable income that you can put aside and start saving for those days you might need it. Now, here's a touchy one. Cost of living also includes all of your personal, non-essential expenditures. That means your clothing and your shoes and your jewelry, gym memberships. This can be the new phone replacement. So when that new iPhone comes out every year and you're spending your $1,200 or so to get it, yeah, that goes against your expenses, and that is going to affect your cost of living. So if you want to get those things in check, then go ahead and cut down on those extras. It could be furnishings, home decor, painting, all the renovations you want to do on a home. Those all have to be taken into consideration when you're talking about your cost of living. Now here in Florida, this next one is super easy for us because this is recreation and activities. Here in Florida, you can do a ton of stuff outside for free. So whether it's fishing or any kind of sport, you've got the tennis and the pickleball. Golf is one that you obviously are going to pay for. That is an expenditure that should probably go back up on the non-essentials, but hey, I do it myself, I get it. So we're going to spend money on some of those things, but bicycle rides, kayaking, paddleboarding, all those kinds of things you want to be out there doing. Now to get on the ones of expense, these are the boat rentals, the jet ski rentals, and those outdoor activities that could cost a couple $100 each time you go to do it. So some of our activities here can be expensive, but we have enough parks and walking paths and even the state parks. You might pay $6 to park your car there, but otherwise there's no fee there. You spend your day in nature, you get some exercise. Could be worse, right? And the last, just massive waste of money, at least in my experience, and I'm sure you could probably also jump right on board with this, is extended warranties. I get offered an extended warranty on just about anything electronic and other things as well. I don't need extended warranties. And car companies, please stop calling me. I don't need your warranty either. My truck's perfectly fine. I'll never buy the warranty, so no thank you. Another stat that was put out by the Census Bureau that I just wanted to tack on here at the end, 78% of people, Americans, are living paycheck to paycheck. So if you want to be one of those people that's not doing that anymore, then we have to get the debt in control. Another one of the wasteful things that people do, and I'm once again guilty, is lottery tickets. Yeah, especially if I see it go to a couple $100 million. For some reason, I think that ups my chances. Now, I'm also the guy that will only do the $3 because I want the extra on there just in case. But I'm doing one ticket. I'm not spending $20 or $50 or $100. It's not me. It's not the way I work. But lottery tickets, there are some people that are spending like $80 a month on this kind of stuff, and that adds up. So if you want to, again, cut back, consider where you're putting those extra dollars on little things like that. Hopefully this video was helpful in giving you a little more information on the cost of living in Florida and how far your money may go in 2021. If you want to learn more about living in Florida, maybe more specifically Cape Coral or Fort Myers, check out one of these other two videos. And if you've got a question for me, you've got to call, text, or email because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.